bench. Kemp will have a big job containing Great Britain danger man Gary Schofield, and the Kiwi forwards also have plenty of pressure on them. They must get their support play working for the first time in the series, and they must complete first-up tackles.
And much will depend on Reilly's two tactical changes for Great Britain. He'll be looking for a hard tackling game from Roy Powell, especially in the first half, and he'll be expecting Hooker Dermott to distribute around the rucks. But I think he'll still be looking to a Fire and Schofield to be the match winners. Mike Gregory,
the Great Britain national captain.
Mike Gregory really had a good tour. We're coming to the end of 10 weeks. He's led by example.
Gary Freeman, full of concentration. Carl Gibson.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Great Britain. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of New Zealand.
So the stage is almost set for this third rugby league test in the Lion Red International Series. Will the New Zealanders line up for the haka? The referee today is Bill Harrigan of Australia. He controlled the second test last week in Auckland. Only his second test match.
There's been a lot of controversy over this man, Bill Harrigan. Certainly he's had quite a few points to make about Great Britain lying on at the play of the ball. Just let's see what happens in those early rucks.
Well, it will be Mark Hollow to lead the haka for the second week in a row. Mark Hollow and the New Zealand haka. Ray French, you can notice once again today plenty of tension on the faces from the players in both teams.
There's a lot of tension. I was just noticing Peter Brown there. He certainly looked determined. He's had two good games in the first two tests. I'd like to see more of the Kiwis running off him, Greg.
I couldn't help but notice Matthew Ridge's attempt at the haka. He had a bit of trouble while he was an All Black, and he's still having a bit of trouble with it today as well. Good luck to Matthew and only his second test. Still a lot of pressure on him with his goal kicking. It'll be Joe Lydon to get this third test underway at QE2 Park. The World Cup qualifier. Great Britain against New Zealand. Sam Panapa will take the tackle. Betts and Gregory in there, 10 metres out from the New Zealand line.
And very little wind assistance here, Greg, to either side. Still conditions, perfect pitch underfoot. Ideal for fluent rugby.
Good run from Peter Brown there. Now it's the other prop, Brent Todd, up to the quarter line. Man from dummy half.
Significant two Great Britain players in at every tackle, moving in very, very quickly, cutting down the Kiwi options. That's good play.
Hugh McGann, the left-footed kick, turning the Great Britain defence around. First touch of the ball, apart from the kickoff for Joe Lydon, flips over on his own quarter line, and the Ilo brothers are there to wrap him up, Kevin in particular. O'Fire, first touch of the ball for the witness flyer. Got a magnificent try last week, his first try in New Zealand. He's lost the ball in the tackle, but it's a penalty to Great Britain. The ball ripped out of his arms while he was tackled. Bob Bailey, the Kiwi coach, his side cannot allow themselves to give away silly penalties like that.
A kick early like this from Joe Lydon, he'll just be looking for touch, not too concerned about distance, just to settle the pack down, get the ball running through one or two pairs of hands.
Dermott with the tap, a couple of metres short of halfway. Here's Skerritt.
This is the sort of thing Great Britain need and want at this moment. Just bring these big forwards in, Skerritt, Powell and company.
Switch of play from Goulding back inside to Gregory. The Kiwis read it pretty well though. He'll play it 2 metres inside New Zealand territory. Schofield, Keith England, McGann and Todd there to wrap him up. Schofield directing traffic as usual, puts the boot to it. Pineapple's back there, takes it pretty well too, inside his own quarter. Betson, Skerritt, Powell up there as well as Gibson. Good chasing by this Great Britain side. Mann out to Hotto.
Great Britain desperate to keep New Zealand in this 25-30 yard area. This is where they think they've got the advantage.
Todd.
Again, Mike Gregory, number 13 there for Great Britain, leading from the front, setting the example.
Another good run from Peter Brown.
Exactly, some big powerful drives from this lad Brown.
Now they'll kick through Matthew Ridge. Joe Lydon back there, no pressure on him at all. Up over the quarter line.
That's good from the Kiwis, Greg. Much better chasing in this third test. The Kiwis really up well there.
Jonathan Davis wants an early touch of the ball. He's wrapped up over there by Williams. Schofield misses out Powell and gives it to Betts, but Brent Todd read it pretty well underneath, and over the top was Tawera Nikau. 0-0 the score, QE2 Park. Down the blind side now, Gregory. Good ball out to Darryl Powell. Beautiful ball back inside to Gregory. Here's a chance. Bobby Goulding's out on the open. He's got it. He seems to pop up every time there's an opportunity.
And he's dropped it, Greg. Whoa, what a disaster. No try. That was a perfect try. Might well really look perplexed. Might well he looked concerned, because a certain 4 points has gone begging there. Martin O'Fire dropped the ball over the line. Just look here. Darryl Powell gets a beautiful ball away to Mike Gregory. He's got little Bobby Goulding in the sidelines there. Goulding could have scored this ball try himself, but he has O'Fire outside him. O'Fire's got the pace, and really that should be all over. Now then, he should dive down Australian style. He doesn't, and he drops the ball. A case in point for the textbook.
Well, let's have a look at it again. This is a sensational mess up by Martin O'Fire. Bobby Goulding should have scored this one himself. He seemed to have Tony Iro well and truly beat. Back inside to Martin O'Fire. Have a look at this vital touchdown. Waiting for it. Well, it's obscured there, but you just could see it slip away out of his hands. So a let-off for New Zealand there, but they were very weak. They were really very weak down the blind.
Yeah, really, any youngsters watching that should note a lesson from that. The Australian style, the Kiwi style of tucking the ball under the chest and diving over the line. That's how you should score a try.
Well, the Kiwis have managed to get the play down into the Great Britain territory. Great Britain now trying to run it out almost on their quarter line, just a couple of metres in front of it, in fact. And now the kick from Gary Schofield. So maybe Lady Luck will be on New Zealand's shoulders today after that let-off.
Well, there's been all the talk in New Zealand about the chances missed by the Kiwis in the first two tests, but you can't miss chances like that, the one that Great Britain have missed there.
While the scrum is packing down, let's have another look at the touchdown. Martin O'Fire. Well, this is a nightmare for him. He's such a great finisher. There it is. Oops! One for the Minties ads. Hugh McGann is receiving some attention at the back of the scrum, but the scrum will go down, and Freeman takes it out. Here's a chance for New Zealand now. Tony Kemp across field, trying to link up. Can't get away from the support, though, from the defence there from the centres, Powell and also Gibson. Down the blind side, Tawera Nikau out to big Tony Ito. He's taking on Martin O'Fire, the big centre, the big winger, rather. Iro getting pretty close, just manages to stay in. That's a good run by Tony Ito. Should give him plenty of confidence. Now Gary Schofield, but Goulding was right up on him. And Skerritt coming in there. Goulding and Freeman. Now that Goulding was unprovoked there, and he started throwing punches at Freeman, and it's on for young and old here at QE2 Park.
Well, the offence had been given, the offside decision had been made, and really both both sides have got to keep their discipline. There's no need for a pile-up like this. Even if there was a battle of scrap between Freeman and Goulding, there's been pressure on these two throughout these two tests. And referee Harrigan, he's really got to get a stern grip of this match.
The penalty originally went to New Zealand. It was Bobby Goulding who was offside. Skerritt came in and gave Gary Freeman a bit of a nudge, and then Goulding lashed out. No love lost between the two, but certainly something that we don't like to see in test matches. Bobby Goulding.
Well, he's certainly got a fiery temper as this young Wigan scrum half, and Kelvin Skerritt there alongside him, 16.5 stone, this powerful Great Britain number 8.
Referee laying down the law there. Now here's Bobby Goulding. There it is, unprovoked, and he certainly landed one on Gary Freeman there.
Yeah, no need for that at all. And certainly I think Bobby Goulding will be lucky here if he doesn't get sent to the sin bin.
Harrigan from Australia, only his second test match as a referee. Was the youngest ever referee to control a Sydney Grand Final. Bobby Goulding has been given 10 minutes in the sin bin, and rightly so. We saw it on the replay. He was unprovoked and landed one on Gary Freeman, which started that pretty well. It was an all-in brawl, really.
Certainly the side that maintains its discipline will win this third test, and in modern day rugby league no side can afford to be down to 12 men. I don't think Mike Gregory or Coach Mal really be very happy with that.
There is Malcolm really there. As I said in the preview, the build-up, he certainly can't hide the tension he feels during and even before test matches. He's not happy. But Matthew Ridge should be pretty happy to have an early shot at goal here, certainly within his range. 10 points in his debut last week, kicked 5 goals. Matthew Ridge, can he put the first points on the board? Swinging round, yes! Just swung around in time. The flags are up, New Zealand leading Great Britain by 2-0.
And this lad, Matthew Ridge, I've been impressed with his goal kicking. He certainly could have won the second test for the Kiwis. And if Great Britain, they've got to watch this lad. They can't afford any penalties like that. Silly penalties, 25, 30 yards from the line.
So that will give the Kiwis plenty of confidence as Joe Lydon restarts.
And Great Britain have got to keep New Zealand down here. They've got to peg them down deep in this half, because we've seen from this lad Sampanapur, we've seen from Tony Iro already, they can score from 35 yards out. They're big, powerful backs.
Peter Brown stepping inside, but runs into Roy Powell and also Mike Gregory. 20 metres short of halfway, New Zealand territory. Brent Todd. Todd is the second double international in the Kiwi team. Matthew Ridge, of course, played for New Zealand in rugby union. Now he's a rugby league international. Brent Todd has been a rugby league international for a while, but he was also a water polo representative. He represented New Zealand in 1986. Matthew Ridge avoids Roy Powell, the left-footed kick downfield. And it's going to find touch.
That's a good kick. He looks a very composed, very calm, very assured player already, this Matthew Ridge.
Let's go to the sideline. Here's One World of Sport's Howie Tamati.
But one would have to be disappointed with the way that the Great Britain attack just broke our defence out wide. It's a bad error by Martin O'Fire there to drop the ball.
But New Zealand have the lead after that drop ball from O'Fire and the penalty from Ridge. 2-0 the Kiwis leading. And this is Gregory off the back of the scrum.
Mike Gregory going to the standoff position, and jack of all trades, Gary Schofield into scrum half.
Great Britain still down to 12 men. Bobby Goulding spending 10 minutes in the sin bin. Now it's a ball out to the second row, Roy Powell. He's a real grafter in this Great Britain pack. So he missed one game on tour.
That's right, 14 out of 15 games he's taken part. A great grafter, and he played something like 2/3 of the tour and the 88 trip.
Back it goes to Lydon on his own quarter, turning the Kiwi defence around. Ridge is back there, takes it beautifully on his own quarter line. Starts to move, having a bit of a run for Matthew Ridge. 18 metres short of halfway. They're standing pretty flat out in the backs.
But again,
and one over the top, back to Peter Brown.
Again, the Kiwis trying to play this very open, very entertaining rugby.
Tawera Nikau takes the tackle.
And while 12 men are on the feet for Great Britain, I think New Zealand have got to do this. They've got to move the ball around, try to use this extra man.
Well, here's a chance for Jonathan Davis. No, the bounce of the ball didn't favour him, but it's been picked up by Carl Gibson.
Well, another try gone begging there, but for the bounce of the ball, Greg.
Damn it, a dummy half. Schofield. Out to Powell. Straight up the middle goes Roy Powell. Bobby Goulding spending 10 minutes in the sin bin.
And he looks to have a black eye himself, doesn't he?
Keith England to the quarter line. Here's a chance for Great Britain. They're down by 2 points to 0. Schofield, will he throw the big dummy? No, yes he does. Gary Schofield, they've fallen for it again. I don't believe it. 2 weeks in a row. Gary Schofield, that great dummy, and that is 100 points in Test football for Gary Schofield. 100 points, a century for the master in this Great Britain team.
Well, surely the Kiwis must have watched videos of the first and second test. How cheeky can you be? It's outrageous. The big dummy, the dash, the strength, round Freeman and round Ridge, and it's 100 points in Test rugby for Gary Schofield. Surely the man of the series, this man, Greg.
Has all the ball skills, and he has the pace over a short distance in particular. Ridge was across there, but he had the momentum to go in and score Great Britain's first try.
And he's got the pace too. Once he's made the dummy, just look how he'll move away. There's the dummy, sends the two forwards. They really must feel guilty. And then that sudden acceleration that takes him round Freeman and leaves Ridge struggling as well. That's class play. A world-class player. No wonder he's valued at £155,000 by Leeds. I think John Gallagher, the former All Black, I think he'll relish playing with this lad.
Schofield has scored over 100 Division 1 tries in only 6 seasons. He topped the Division 1 list in his first season. He scored 28 tries back in 83-84 when he was only 18. Jonathan Davis, 32 points from his 4 tests in rugby league. Not the easiest of conversion attempts. It's only a couple of metres in from the grandstand side here at QE2 Park. Struck it pretty well, but it's away. So the score, Great Britain leading New Zealand by 4 points to 2. There's the try scorer, Gary Schofield. So Great Britain down to 12 men, and they still can score a try, so they'd be pretty happy with the situation.
And the tries that Schofield has made, or he's scored, they've come from the same positions, out wide, where there's just that hint of a crack in the defence.
The restart by New Zealand. And it's Mike Gregory looking to complete a whitewash in a series against New Zealand. Great Britain haven't completed a whitewash in a series away from home for 20 years.
With 12 men, it's necessary for Great Britain to hold this ball, just to keep possession, and then put the ball right deep down in the Kiwi half. Play a game tactically. That's what Schofield's trying to do.
Dermot out to Powell, but Tony Hero read that one pretty well and threw him into the turf. 20 metres short of halfway. Back it goes to Joe Light, and they're going to try and turn the New Zealanders around and play it down in the Kiwi territory. Matthew Ridge takes it pretty well back inside his own half. It runs into a wall of defenders. England in particular is there to beat him, 8 metres short of halfway.
The Kiwis got to take advantage now of Goulding being on that bench, moving it out wide.
Well, Hero tried a double round there, but Great Britain read it pretty well. Kelvin Skerritt was there. Down the blind side it goes now to Brent Todd.
Good run by Todd. 15, 20 yards gain there.
Almost to the halfway. Freeman misses out Horrow. Out it goes to Nick Howe. A good ball out to big Peter Brown, but once again there's no support. We've seen this all series, but now Dwayne Mann links up. But there should have been support there beforehand. The move was on.
And that was a tremendous tackle by Joe Lydon to bring Mann down.
Kevin Hero having a run up the centre. That's the 5th tackle now. Kemper dummy half out to Freeman. Long one out to Horro. Here's a chance out wide. Back inside it goes to Matthew Ridge, but he's going to be pulled down just 1 metre out, and that's the sixth tackle, the handover.
Good run by Ridge, very well played, but again another good tackle by Joe Lydon. Two excellent full backs here, the master and the apprentice, and both giving as good as they can get.
Gregory plays it back to Skerrett. 10 metres out. Schofield, Keith England. Martin Dermott, good run by the hooker from dummy half.
That's good play, and I think that's why there was this controversial decision to put Dermott in ahead of Jackson. He's very good around the rucks.
Now it's back to Lydon again. He won't get away from Huey McGann, but he can get the ball back now to Bobby Goulding, who's back on the field after 10 minutes in the sin bin. He kicks it down to Ridge, who turns it on to Sam Parnapper. Up over the halfway line he goes.
Well, Goulding bobbed up on the pitch just at the right time there.
Todd, who said he doesn't pass the ball? He got a good one out there to Kevin Ito. England, a good tackle around the legs. Now they spin it wide. Daryl Williams running onto it, and a good ball out to Talbot and Nickau, but he's given it across to Jonathan Davis.
That's good play by Davis, but I really am impressed by this boy Nickau. In all three tests, he's got the pace, he steps well, but he can also offload the ball.
Well, Roy Powell, a settling run up the middle. Let's go to the sideline again. Here's Howie Tamati.
Okay, just a comment there that, you know, while Tawera Nico is playing well, perhaps it should be him coming off Peter Brown and not Peter Brown coming off him.
Well, almost an intercept there by Hugh McGann. There'll be the knock-on played, a scrum to pack down almost on the quarter line in Great Britain territory.
You wouldn't think, actually, Greg, that we were in a World Cup test, that we were in a third test, because both of these sides are flinging the ball around as if there's no tomorrow. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game, this.
Well, almost an intercept there by Hugh McGann with the line wide open. Back live, a Great Britain ball.
We've had the possibility already of 3 tries gone down.
Great Britain keeping it alive now. Here's Daryl Powell in the centre of the field.
Good tackle there, tremendous tackle.
Schofield. Dennis Betts. He's had a big series. Down the blind side again. I think Great Britain fancy their chances down the Kiwi blind side. Almost to the halfway. Here's Dermott making some ground from dummy half. Out to Roy Powell, storming onto it.
Yes, Dermott's having a little bit of an advantage around there. There's more movement around the rucks than we've seen in a previous test.
And here's a penalty to Great Britain. Last week we saw Great Britain giving away silly penalties in the play of the ball. Today it's New Zealand.
And I think the speed of this game and the manner in which the game's been played, we've just had 2 penalties, 1 each so far. This is
so Jonathan Davis will have an attempt after 18 minutes in the first half. Kevin Ito. New Zealand need a big performance out of Ito today.
And it's well worth an attempt. Davis, very, very capable of kicking these goals. 86 points on tour, kicks some superb goals from the touchline. There's not a breath of wind about. An extra 2 points, just eases Great Britain ahead.
Pretty well right in front of the uprights. About 44 metres out from the posts.
And he'll be looking for this one.
Second attempt for Jonathan Davis. It's got the legs, has it got the direction? Yes! A good goal from Jonathan Davis. Great Britain now leading by 6 points to 2. 19 minutes gone in the first half of this third and final test.
But those goals are always well worth taking with a kicker of Davis's quality. For such a small man, such a powerful kicker.
Daryl Williams will restart. The first 2 tests, the New Zealanders have certainly dominated the first quarter, but it's not that situation today. 20 minutes gone now, and here's Mike Gregory, leading by example again. Brushed off by Peter Brown. Had a strong run.
Had a tremendous tour, this number 13, truly establishing himself now as a great forward in World Rugby League.
Gary Schofield, this time the tacklers are there. Roy Powell. Good run by big Roy Powell, and gets a beautiful ball back to Martin Dermott. He's got plenty of pace for a hooker, Martin Dermott. Takes play 10 metres inside New Zealand territory. Dennis Betts from dummy half. Used the hooker as a bit of a decoy there, and he's going to be pulled up for it as well. Shepherd.
Well, I think Dennis Betts has been unfortunate there. He did use the hooker as a decoy, but also I think that one or two of the Kiwi forwards had not got back, and he wanted to get the ball out. And here I think we see it. You can see on the right-hand side. Yep. Now that is shepherding.
Good decision by Harrigan, the referee. And a good touch finder by the Kiwis. Play about 15 metres inside Great Britain territory now. They're going to spin it wide. The line-up is out there. Tony Kempe misses out. Caminito. Out it goes to Daryl Williams, storming onto it.
But that's a good tackle there by Gary Schofield again. Cutting across like a sweeper, moving backwards. And the Kiwis using Brent Todd and Peter Brown to very, very good effect, making yards.
Well, that's the quarter line. Great Britain territory. Can the Kiwis score a try? Tawera Nikau making every attempt. Back inside it goes to Freeman, but a bit of a hospital pass that one. He was well and truly wrapped up by Lydon and Betts, but they spin it wide again. Hugh McGann's out there. Back inside it goes to Daryl Williams. Here's a chance. Kemp, he's struggling to hold on to it. Can he get it down? Yes! Between the posts. Tony Kemp back in the Kiwi starting 13 after missing out on the second test. He was a replacement there, and he got a couple of minutes at the end of the game, making the most of his opportunities today.
A good try this, and it shows again how the Kiwis can score from close in. Sheer power running by Daryl Williams, and then Kemp, a big lad, in his first game at standoff, he takes some holding. They can't hold him.
Yes, good move there to bring it back inside, and Daryl Williams has really been storming onto the ball out wide. And he nearly put it down there, but just managed to hang on to it. And really, it's just sheer strength from Kemp. Look, he put his head down, he could see the line, he wasn't going to be stopped at all. Straight between Gregory and also Bobby Goulding.
Yes, it's the power and the strength. The Kiwi backline is much bigger, much stronger than Great Britain. Great Britain have the pace, but they lack this strength. Just look at Kemp there, forces his way through. Very, very good try, and well deserved.
Well, there's a try scorer, Tony Kemp, and it has been converted by Matthew Ridge right in front of the uprights. No problem there. So the Kiwis in front at QE2 Park, 8 points to 6. Tony Kemp from the Newcastle Knights Club, of course, and he knows this ground pretty well. It's one of his favourite grounds, this one, because he made his debut in Test match football against the Australians in the series here last year. Ridge out to Panapa. Strong run by Panapa up to the quarter line. Oh, good ball by Peter Brown. And now Tony Kemp's in the open again up over the halfway line. Can he link up? No, the support's not there.
Good tackle again by Joe Lydon. 3 times Joe Lydon's had to come to the rescue. But these Kiwi forwards are doing a lot of damage, and there's another penalty again for holding down at the play of the ball. Referee Harrigan standing no messing. But Great Britain have got to pick these Kiwi forwards up. McGann, Brown, Todd, and especially Nikau. They're really punching holes through the gaps out wide.
Tony Kemp scored a try just a minute or so ago, and now, after a good strong run, manages to get the penalty for New Zealand.
And this well worth the shot by Ridge. 2 goals already. Similar position, perhaps 4 or 5 metres nearer to the post than Davis's previous one.
Well, Ray, this game has certainly been played at a hectic pace. Can they keep it up for 80 minutes?
It is. It will be very interesting to see what happens in the second half. Both very, very fit sides, although fitness should favour the tourists.
That's the distance for Matthew Ridge, his 3rd attempt. Straight between the uprights. Oh, the man's in great touch. 3 from 3 for Matthew Ridge. New Zealand now leading by 10 points to 6 over the Great Britain Lions.
Doesn't seem to have any nerves, this lad. He seems to relish the big occasion.
Gary Schofield taking plenty of time with the restart. Ridge, no, he's not going to hand it over to Panapa like before. He's going to have a run on his own. Almost to the quarter line.
Great Britain have got to contain the Kiwis down here. The Kiwis have not got the pace, really, for one man to go 70, 80 yards. They've got the strength to score from 25, 30 yards, and that's where New Zealand want to be.
Peter Brown, a good ball out to Tawera Nikau. Man, back it goes to Daryl Williams, out to Kevin Ito. He's got his brother out wide, Tony Iro. He hasn't got the pace to get away, but he's going to take on Schofield, and a good tackle from that man Schofield again. He's everywhere on the park. But the Kiwis on a roll now. Out it goes to Kemp, back inside now to Nikau.
And this is where the problem is for Great Britain. This is the sheer strength. It's these Kiwi forwards coming down the middle. Great Britain offside again. And the reason is that they've got to get in quick. They've got to move in quick on the outside, because the likes of Nikau and Brown and co, they're causing problems.
Another kickable penalty here for Matthew Ridge. Tawera Nikau playing well today, and at long last they're running off Peter Brown.
And I'm sure people back home in England at Rydale York will be relishing the prospect of this lad joining them this coming season.
3 from 3 from Matthew Ridge in this test match. 5 from 8 in his test debut in Auckland last week.
And this should be a relatively simple kick for one of Ridge's calibre. Certainly he looks, yes, Greg, to be doing the same sort of job that Des White did for New Zealand in the 50s and the 60s.
Now the referee Bill Harrigan is telling the Great Britain players to move back.
Yes,
they're within the 10 metres.
He wants them 10 metres. It's an old professional's dodge, that, you know, to move up a couple of metres, and very often you see the old professional start to sway his body from side to side to put the kicker off. But Mr. Harrigan's having nothing to do with him.
No problem for Matthew Ridge. 4 from 4 for this classy fullback. Prolific goal kicker. 12 points to 6. The Kiwis lead Great Britain. Touch judge in, having a word to Bill Harrigan. Not too sure what that's all about. Well, looking at the tackling there, both sides had about the same amount of tackles to complete. Todd leading the way for New Zealand, Keith England leading the way for the forwards on the Great Britain side.
They have, Greg. It's been a very fair and a very even game, a very open game, and both sides have been in possession virtually somewhat similar. 13 minutes for the Kiwis, 10 minutes for Great Britain.
Sam Panapa running it out. Still in the Kiwi quarter though, and now this is Brent Todd. Mark Hotto up over the quarter line. Runs into England and also Dermott. Man from dummy half.
The Great Britain pack at the moment not moving in quick enough around these rucks. The men 1 and 2 out are not picking up these forwards fast enough.
Here's Matthew Ridge. The clearing kick. Joe Lydon is back there. Picks it up inside his own quarter now. Makes it to the quarter line. Good chasing again from Tony Kemp and Kevin Ito. Double round now. And Martin O'Fire straight across field. Crunched into the turf over there. Underneath was Dwayne Mann. Over the top was Daryl Williams. Carl Gibson. We haven't seen much of Gibson in this first half so far, but he has a run from dummy half. Doesn't get too far out of this quarter. Dennis Betts charging straight up the middle.
Again, I'd like to see Dennis Betts coming out further wider. He's the one forward with real pace. He should be taking the ball 2 or 3 men further out.
Schofield throws a dummy. This time they don't fall for it.
Good tackle. Hugh McGann looking after him.
Back to Lydon. Spiralling kick, but Matthew Ridge is back there. Under no pressure. Has a bit of a run now.
It's the Kiwis who are moving this ball about much more. Great Britain started out as a rolling pace, but suddenly have gone back into the shell. They're putting their trust very, very close in to the forwards.
10 minutes to half-time. And that's the halfway mark where Tony Ito will play it. Looking at the work that the backs have had to do in defence. Williams, Kemp leading the way for the Kiwis, and Gibson leading the way narrowly from Lydon.
Those are very high tackle counts for backs at this stage, and it just shows how wide has been this game. But there's that Nicow again. What a forward this lad is.
And he gets a good ball back to Freeman, but he just couldn't get away from the cover defence. But the Kiwis now spinning it wide. The big line-up is out there. Tony Kemp, he's going to throw it back inside to Dwayne Mann, straight up the middle. The hooker, he's got Gary Freeman. Is he in? No, he's held up. He's only centimetres out. Oh, the momentum just didn't carry him across. A last-ditch tackle. And there's a professional foul. And Gary Schofield, I think it is, has been given 10 minutes. Rightly so, too. A professional foul there. They didn't allow Gary Freeman up. He went centimetres to scoring the try.
Well, that's a big blow again to Great Britain. Referee Harrigan, a judge in here, that when Freeman eventually gets this ball, that he's being held down. Just look at that, he's inches short. He just can't put the ball down. Schofield does a good job initially, and Carl Gibson, well, referee Harrigan's decision.
Anyway, they didn't take the attempted penalty. They're going to try and keep the pressure on. Matthew Ridge and Carl Gibson exchanging a few pushes there, and it's a penalty again to Great Britain. Michael Gregory's not happy.
And again, it's the same as in the second test. Mike Gregory not very happy with Mr. Harrigan, and Mr. Harrigan not very happy with Great Britain.
But that was a definite penalty again for New Zealand. The Great Britain players insist on messing about in the play the ball, and really, Ray, they're paying the penalty there.
They are.
So again, they're going to try and keep the pressure on. I thought Matthew Ridge could have landed the extra 2 points before, but the Kiwis won 6 pointers. Gary Freeman out to Tony Kemp. An air of confidence coming into this Kiwi team. A big ball out to Tony Udo. He's going to take the tackle, though. Good ball and all tackle there from Darryl Powell. Kevin Hero, dummy half. Out to Brent Todd, charging for the line. Todd almost in for his first test try, but he's held up only about a metre out. Hero, dummy half. Quick hands, Freeman. Out wide to Peter Brown. Yes, a try, surely. No. Good defence out there. Martin Dermott coming across. For the Kiwis, stretching Great Britain. A ball over the top, and underneath it goes over the touch line.
Well, how close can you get, Greg? That was a purple patch of rugby there, and Bob Bailey, well, he must be delighted by that. He looks very calm, but really, he must know that he's got Great Britain on the rack here. Superb rugby.
How close can you go without scoring a try? Goulding takes it away now, so Great Britain has just have to settle it down now because they're under pressure. The Kiwi team running hot, but not finishing again.
But I'd like to see Great Britain coming back and begin to start playing football again as they did in the first 10 minutes. We've closed down, we've clammed up, we're too near, we're too close to these rucks.
Kelvin scared to play it. Let's go to the sideline. Here's Howie Tamati.
But the Kiwis are going really well at the moment. They just got to make sure they don't get carried away with all the niggle with these English players, and just concentrate on putting their ball over the line.
Well, now it's Roy Powell, and that's the 5th tackle, midway between the halfway and the quarter line. Back it goes now to Lydon. He doesn't like playing football down in his own territory, and rightly so. Matthew Ridge almost on his own quarter. Going to have a run again, the fullback. Almost to the halfway line. Strong run by Matthew Ridge. Malcolm Briley, he's got problems up on the bench there for Great Britain.
And Great Britain have got to hang in here. 12 points to 6 for New Zealand. They can't afford any more points at this stage.
Nicow and Hugh McGann linking up very well on the blind side.
And of course, Great Britain desperate in defence with Schofield loading the sin bin.
Peter Brown. Support there from Dwayne Mann. The hooker, he's out into the clear. Dwayne Mann, but a good tackle from Joe Lydon. The referee called play the ball, and now it's a penalty to Great Britain. So they just had the defence stretch there, but Mann wanted to go on with it after the referee had called the 5th tackle.
Good strong run by Dwayne Mann, but very silly there. Again, he had Great Britain on the rack. He never played the ball with his foot.
Yes, look at this. A good end-on shot of Dwayne Mann. Joe Lydon was taking him ball and all. Wasn't effectively stopped, but the referee had called it the 5th tackle. So you play to the referee, and now a bad mistake by Great Britain. They can't afford that. Otto dives on it and will play it on the halfway line.
That's a bad mistake by Roy Powell. Great Britain needed the ball there.
Gary Freeman. Hugh McGann was standing still. Tony Udo standing still, but he starts to have him run up the middle now. Held up 1 metre inside Great Britain territory. New Zealand lost their way a little bit there, but now they spin it wide. Darryl Williams gets a good ball out to Matthew Ridge. He's got Sammy Panapa.
That's a good tackle by Jonathan Davis there.
Now it's Richard dummy half back to Gary Freeman. Peter Brown bursting onto it. The big prop back it goes to Tawera Nico. He's in underneath the post. Yeah. Brilliant stuff by New Zealand. They're running hot today.
That's magnificent rugby, and how well those Kiwi supporters should be delighted. 16 points to 6, and what a try there from Tawera Nico. He really is my man of the match so far. He runs, he passes, and just watch him move onto this ball here. Peter Brown again, sleight of hand in the pack. There's Nico, wrong foot's Powell, straight through Darryl Powell's tackle, and poor old Gregory carried over the line again. Magnificent try, but just look how it comes off Peter Brown's pass. That's what's been lacking in the first 2 tests. Nico does the running here, the try.
And that's going to be one to remember for Tawera Nico. That's his first test try. He made his debut in Palmerston North this year. That was in the first test against Great Britain, and had a good debut. I thought he did quite a bit in the second test as well. And now his first try, 23-year-old from the Otahu Club in Auckland, and as Ray mentioned earlier in this live telecast on One World of Sport, he has signed for Rydell York. And here's Matthew Ridge. Another 2 points. New Zealand 18, Great Britain 6. The Kiwis running hot at Kui2 Park, and Gary Schofield has spent his 10 minutes in the sin bin.
And certainly it needs all the talent now. It needs all the skill of Gary Schofield to pull Great Britain back into this game. They've allowed the Kiwis to dominate the game. They've allowed them to dictate the midfield, and certainly they're not picking up these big, fast Kiwi forwards.
And Peter Brown, the prop, he has it on his own quarter line. Been impressed with Brown today, and at long last they're using his ball skills. They're running off him well today. Tony Ito in from the wing, the big man. Said he wanted to end up playing in the second row eventually in his career. He's getting a bit of a taste of it today. There's Brent Todd. Cops heaps of criticism for his no-frills, straight up the middle play. But he's certainly doing the job for New Zealand today so far anyway. And out it goes to Ridge.
And Ridge growing in confidence. He's wanting the ball now. He's coming into the game. It's a good display here between the two fullbacks. Ridge on attack and Lydon on defence.
Good chasing by Mark Otto to get Lydon and pin him down inside the Great Britain quarter. Jonathan Davis trying to find a way through.
But there's no way through there, is there? Good tackle by Todd.
Now they spin it wide, but Dennis Betts has put it down, and Tony Ito picks it up, the big man. So another chance for the Kiwis. Kevin Ito waiting for a dummy half. Have a run, big fellow. Kevin Ito almost through.
And again,
desperate defence by Great Britain.
Defence by Great Britain, but Great Britain putting all the pressure on themselves with some terrible handling.
Tawera Nico can't quite clear it out to Darryl Williams, and he's lost it over there. Kiwis trying to do possibly a little bit too much there rather than take the tackle, because they've got Great Britain stretched at the moment.
But I think that's one of the advantages of these Kiwi forwards. They're always looking to pass the ball in the tackle. They will make mistakes, but when it comes off, it's spectacular.
Bobby Goulding runs into Peter Brown.
And really, we shouldn't have a scrum half coming away there at first receiver. Where are the big forwards? Here they are, Skerritt.
Schofield. See, a lot depends on Schofield and his skipper, Mike Gregory now. They've got to get the lines back into this match, and at the moment, they're going nowhere. Schofield wrapped up by Dwayne Mann. You can just sense the confidence in this Kiwi team today. Lydon. There goes the boot again. Matthew Ridge gets it out to Sam Panapa.
You see, Great Britain are having to kick the ball because in this last 20 minutes we've not made more than 10-15 yards in any sequence of 6 tackles.
1 minute to half-time. Matthew Ridge couldn't quite pick the ball up there because the Great Britain player was lying all over it. That's a halfway line. Brent Todd taking on the defence.
Every one of these Kiwis forwards want the ball today, don't they? They want to run with it. They want to use it.
Freeman. Out it goes to Tony Kemp. Inside to Darryl Williams. He'll take the tackle. No, he gets it back to Gary Freeman down the blind side. Throws the dummy Freeman. Out it goes underneath the big Tony Ito. No support inside, but he's going to drive one over the top. It was almost like Someone throwing the ball in from the boundary.
Well, it was like American football there, wasn't it? And well picked up by Gregory. Gregory's got a lot on his plate here. He's got to hold this Great Britain side together. Another 4 or 5 points just before half-time, and it's curtains.
Well, it's almost half-time. Schofield throws the dummy. Can't find a way through, though.
See, Great Britain are going nowhere. They're not making more than 3 or 4 yards at a time here.
Roy Powell takes on the Kiwi defence. Martin Dermott, that's the 5th tackle, into extra time now in this first half, the 3rd and final Rugby League test, live on One World of Sport. Hope you're enjoying this telecast. Hope you're enjoying seeing the Kiwis putting it together at long last. Sammy Panapar finds a way through the middle. Great run, Sam Panapar.
That's a good tackle too by little Bobby Goulding.
That's half-time. And the New Zealanders go to the break with a handy lead. Well, they lead by 18 points to 6, and 2 tries to 1. The try scorers Tony Kemp and Tawera Dickow. Matthew Ridge's kick, 5 from 5. Gary Schofield scored the 1 try for Great Britain. The penalty from Jonathan Davis. And the crowd seemed to enjoy that first half. I certainly did, Ray.
Oh, I think the crowd have every right to enjoy that first half. The Kiwis are now doing everything they threatened in the first 2 tests.
We'll take a break and be back shortly at QE2 Park. Welcome back to QE2 Park in Christchurch. The Kiwis coming out to a roar from the parochial crowd here in Christchurch. They lead by 18 points to 6. Smiles on the faces of the crowd. Now there's 1 of 2 replacements coming on at half-time for Great Britain. Number 16, and that is Paul Dixon.
I should think Paul Dixon would be fired up. It was rather surprising that he lost his place to Roy Powell. I think he'll want to show Coach Mal really a lot. And Sean Irwin there, a very strong centre from Castleford. We certainly need some runs from him. Very strong, powerful runs down the middle.
Darryl Williams with the task of getting the second half underway. No replacements on for the Kiwis. But we'll have to keep an eye on Mark Hotto in particular. He was basically assisted from the field at half-time, but he has a knee strapped. Bill Harrigan, the referee, coming on to get the second half underway.
And Great Britain have got to get back into this second half very, very quickly. They've got to be the ones that score first.
Goulding, a good take. Out it goes to his skipper, Mike Gregory. 18 metres out from the Great Britain line. First touch of the ball for one of the replacements. Paul Dixon from the Leeds club. Dennis Betts from Wigan, the 20-year-old. A good early break by Dennis Betts. Freeman read it pretty well, though.
And those are the sort of breaks really that Great Britain are looking for from Dennis Betts, pushing it out wide. He's got the pace.
And another good run by Martin Dermott. This is a good start by the Lions in the second half. New Zealanders can't be complacent. Plenty of big match footballers in this Great Britain team, and Matthew Ridge is going to allow the ball to run dead from that kick, and so it'll be a restart on the quarter line.
And this is the sort of rugby that Great Britain have got to play. They've got to use the ball, they've got to utilise the skills and run these forwards around, especially Mark Hotto, who's got a left knee strapped up there.
Here's Hotto now, seems to be running freely. Brent Todd, another strong run, enjoying his time here in front of his home crowd. The kick through now, and Lydon takes it pretty well. No pressure on him. McGann missed him, but Tony Kemp doesn't.
Tony Kemp has followed up and moved up very quickly. Mike Gregory got a knock there, but just having attention from physio David Fever.
Roy Powell. So Malcolm really panicking really at half-time, using up his 2 replacements. Dennis Betts, another strong run.
Yes, he's coming from much deeper. He was taking the ball rather flat in the first half. His 2 runs so far have come from 10, 15 yards back.
Now Ridge has it. Crossfield goes Matthew Ridge, and a good run up over the quarter line. Straightening up at the last minute. Kevin Ito in a bit of pain there, receiving some attention.
And it looks as if the physio was signalling to the bench that Kevin's really got problems. Now that would be a big blow to the Kiwis. But Great Britain got to take advantage here now.
Well, a penalty to Great Britain.
And I think that Great Britain will be in a quandary here. Did he keep the possession on? Did he keep the position on? Or did he go for goal? It's a long, long way to full time yet. I think the 2 points could be valuable. But
well, Kevin Ito moving off the field now with that injury.
But Great Britain opting to keep the pressure on.
Well, now it's Keith England. New Zealand down to 12 men with Ito still to be replaced, and here's a chance for Dennis Betts, almost through. He got it back to Mike Gregory.
That was good play. That was very good forward play. Betts the real danger man now. And Gregory spurring Great Britain on.
Dermot throwing the dummy, Martin Dermot almost through, but no support there, and he's lost it in the tackle. Mark Hotto comes away with it. Great Britain looking very strong there, but they let the ball go.
Kevin Ito.
Now there's a couple of subs warming up there. Morven Edwards looks to be coming on. It'll be his second appearance in a test match if he gets onto the field. Morven Edwards, only 22 years of age, from the Upper Hutt Club in Wellington. Already the captain of the Wellington province. So another big moment for him in his rugby league career. Number 14, Morven Edwards, waiting to come on and replace Kevin Ito. Back it goes to Matthew Ridge. The kick downfield, good spiralling kick. Joe Lydon's back there as well. It's very difficult to find Joe Lydon out of position.
Joe Lydon's weighed the pounce up, but he's not really got that blistering pace that he had before his ankle injury. Still recovering from that.
Sean Irwin from dummy half. Gary Schofield, out it goes to Mike Gregory. Nick Howe wraps him up. Peter Brown goes into lender hand as well. New Zealand leading 18 points to 6. That was the half-time score. Betts slips over as he gets to Hugh McGann. Schofield, the kick into open spaces, and it bounces back in field for Matthew Ridge.
Both of these fullbacks getting very, very fortunate bounces, but both good judgment.
Ridge 5 metres short of halfway. Freeman out to Williams. The defence was up very quick out wide. He had to take the tackle.
There looks to be more snapping Great Britain. They're moving up more quickly. They're moving in, cutting down the options on the outside. The Kiwi forwards not running as they were in the first half.
Freeman, Nick out, throws the dummy, Tawera Nick out. Powell was there to throw him into the Kiwi to about 4 metres inside Great Britain territory. Now it's out to Williams with the kick through, and he'll find touch over on the far side in front of the grandstand here.
Sensible kick there.
Well, that kick almost over where Howie Tamati is. What's the latest from you, Howie?
Quite a few changes being made. Morven Edwards just coming on the field, replacing Kevin Ito, who's gone off with a knee injury. Mark Hortle's been given 10 minutes just to see how his knee holding up. He's just got a bad bruise in his knee. Calvin Skerritt's been replaced, due more to illness rather than injury.
What was the message from the managers at half-time? We'll pick up on that in a moment. Let's go now to the play, and it's Keith England.
That's interesting to hear from Howie that Kelvin Skerritt has been replaced by illness. He's had a lot of problems with a sore throat. Well, trouble again, frustration between Darryl Williams and Mike Gregory there. But not too much trouble. I'm just saying that Kelvin Skerritt has had a sore throat. There's been a bit of a virus in the Great Britain camp.
Well, now the referee and TUS judges will have to calm things down after that skirmish off the ball.
There's a lot of frustration in both these sides. I think the Kiwis are so fired up to want to win this game, and Great Britain also wanting the 3-0.
Hughie McGann in there with his opposition skipper, the 213s, McGann and Gregory. Malcolm really, gee, he certainly puts a lot of pressure on himself during test matches, doesn't he?
He certainly ages with every game. A lot of thoughts going through his head there, and he must certainly be wondering, well, where's this kick going?
Well, this is a blow for New Zealand now because someone's been given 10 minutes in the sin bin. It's number 4, Daryl Williams. So the Kiwis down to 12 men. 2 Great Britain players spent 10 minutes each in the sin bin in the first half. So here's a chance now for Great Britain to take advantage of the overlap. And play to resume with this penalty kick on the quarter line, Great Britain territory, by Joe Lydon. Finds touch, 5 metres short of halfway. Martin Dermott had a busy game at hooker. Out now to Dixon, running onto it strongly. 5 metres inside New Zealand territory. Gilding out to Schofield. The double round with Schofield. But he'll have to play it on the halfway.
Great Britain using the ball better in this half. I'm sure coach really has told them to open out the game.
Roy Powell straight up the middle. Morgan Edwards, the tackler there. Replacement on for New Zealand. They still have another replacement that they can use later on. Great Britain have both of their replacements on. Play in centre field, about 8 metres inside New Zealand territory. Now Lydon, the grubber kick through, and a good one too. So Great Britain moving down into that danger area, and remembering, of course, that New Zealand only have 12 men on the field. Daryl Williams doesn't look to be too pleased with himself there as he's watching his teammates try and hold on while he has that time in the sin bin.
No, and he shouldn't be. And luckily for New Zealand, it's Freeman's head and ball.
Great Britain leading in the scrum department, but New Zealand leading on the scoreboard where it matters most.
And again, Great Britain here around the rucks have got to keep New Zealand here. They've got to move into this tackle, restrict the yardage gain, and hope that Matthew Ridge is put under pressure to kick.
Tawera Nikau. Brent Todd down the blind side. Another strong run by Todd. Look for the kick from Ridge now as the chasers move downfield. Another long kick, but the bounce is good for Joe Lydon. Lydon tackled up there by Morgan Edwards. Good chasing by the youngster.
Joe took safety first tactics there. He had Martin fired outside him. Elected to hold on.
This is Daryl Powell. Now it's Gary Schofield. Out to Mike Gregory. No support there. Gregory was ready for the pass. Schofield again. The little kick over the top has been touched by Hume again. Back to Dennis Betts, but Martin O'Fire couldn't hold it. And so the Kiwis come away with it. Tawera Nikau. Oh, it was pretty close there.
That was close, but Martin O'Fire once again given the chance, couldn't hold the ball, and the Kiwis coming back for more. Great Britain losing this ball at the vital time.
Brown down the blind side. This time he's going to take the tackle. Almost to the quarter line, Great Britain territory. Brent Todd out to Mark Hotto.
And minutes ticking away for the Kiwis with Daryl Williams off. Every time they hold this ball, every sequence of 6 tackles, it's to their advantage.
10 minutes gone in the first half. Tony Ino straight up the middle, the big winger. Playing like a second rower there. He's only 8 metres out. That's the 5th tackle. A drop goal could be on here. No, Freeman wants to spin it wide. Out to Peter Brown. He puts the little grubber kick through. It's lying loose on the ground. Still lying loose over there. Eventually it's going to be cleaned up by Great Britain, though, and it's going to be a goal-mouth dropout. Good chasing by the New Zealanders.
It was, and it's pressure by New Zealand all the time on Joe Lydon. He's really having to earn his money here this afternoon.
Kiwis looking for their first win bonus of this series.
And it needs a good long kick here. It needs a lot of space. It doesn't quite happen.
Sammy Panapa.
This is one advantage New Zealand have here, 30 yards from the Great Britain line. In men like Panapa and Iro, they've got very big men who really can act as forwards.
Brent Todd. Freeman. Double round. Out it goes to Kemp. He gets it back to Freeman. Horro. Moving pretty well for someone that has a suspect left knee at the moment.
I don't think he wants to go off Mark Horro. I think he senses some glory here this afternoon and he wants part of it.
This is Brent Todd. Short ball out to Tony Kemp. Here's a chance. There's numbers over on the far side. Over the top it goes now to Matthew Ridge. It was touched by Great Britain. Matthew Ridge still trying to find a way up the middle. So the tackle count goes back to 1. The Kiwis, 12 men on the field. And in with a good chance now. Freeman, the ball's gone backwards. Now it's knocked on. So bad luck there. Freeman complains to the referee, but the referee has the whistle.
Well, I should think Gary Freeman's more annoyed with himself there. He had another 6 tackles. He had all the cards dealt to him, and he knocked on. Again, respite for Great Britain. They need this ball. They need it badly.
Well, Great Britain kicking on the first tackle, and here's Martin O'Fire's streaming through. The fullback's not home, but Tony Ito gets back there. Good chasing by O'Fire, but that was good tactics, really, because Ridge was up in the line. And when you've got a chaser like Martin O'Fire...
It's good tactics, Greg, when you've got a chase like Martin O'Fire, but once again, it's the Kiwis back in possession. Time's ticking away. Darryl Williams is going to come back on this field shortly.
Tawera Nikau just settling it up the middle. New Zealand leading by 18 points to 6. 13 minutes gone in the second half. Now this is Mark Horrow. Yes, Ray, I agree with you. I think Horrow does want to taste a little bit of glory today. Going well.
Oh, I don't blame him.
Now Tony Kemp. And he puts the kick to it once again. That man Lydon is back there. Takes it well 10 metres out from his own line.
You see, Greg, the Kiwis can afford to kick. The Kiwis can afford to keep Great Britain down here. Great Britain have got to use the ball. They've got to score tries. They're 18 points to 6 down.
Jonathan Davis got away from a couple, Davis, but he was told to play the ball. It happened to one of the Kiwis in the first half. It was Joanne Mann from memory. Well, now the same incident here, this time the penalty going to New Zealand, and if I was Hugh McGann, I'd give Matthew Ridge a kick at goal here.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I really do feel sorry for Jonathan Davis there. I mean, he doesn't weigh 6 stone wet through. He's got 2 big men, Peter Brown there. He's got Sam Panaper holding him. You can't complain about that for the lad getting away. I mean, what do they want from Mr. Harrigan?
So it will be Matthew Ridge to have his 6th shot at goal. He's got a 100% record so far, 5 from 5. Matthew Ridge in this game. Kicked 5 goals last week. Dean Lonergan, number 17 for the Kiwis, warming up. Came on as a replacement, but only got about 4 or 5 minutes in the second test in Auckland last week. Matthew Ridge. The only pressure on him at the moment is to try and keep his 100% record. Brent Todd has been replaced again. He's the real workhorse in this team, and even for his Canberra Raiders club, they tend to replace him late in the second half because he does a power of work, and he hasn't been taken off because of a poor performance today. He's been replaced because Brent Todd, like a lot of the Kiwi forwards, has done more than required of him today. Matthew Ridge. Magnificent. 6 from 6.
And that's one man who's done more than has been required of him. 6 from 6 goals, but Great Britain are giving him every opportunity, and this lad, he can take them.
New Zealand leading by 20 points to 6 now. Still a long way to go, though. They cannot afford to be complacent.
Referee Mr. Harrigan just waiting for one of the other balls to be cleared off the pitch, but Great Britain have got to throw caution to the wind here. We've got to see some football. The ball's got to move around. They've got to put pressure on the Kiwis. At the moment, they're allowing big men like Iro here just to storm at them.
He's got numbers outside too. He had Gary Freeman looming up. He decided to try and beat one more. Possibly should have passed it, but still plenty of metres gained there by Tony Ito. It's been kicked through and touched by a Great Britain player. This is going to be a penalty to New Zealand this time. Kicking before the ball was on the ground is the ruling. You must allow the ball to be on the ground before you can strike. Peter Brown, right on the halfway line, will kick for the grandstand touchline.
Again, I should think the Great Britain camp will be looking very, very closely at this decision once again.
First touch of the ball for Dean Lonergan, the replacement on. His 4th appearance in a test match. Peter Brown got a pass away to Tawera Nikau, but he just couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah.
Scrum to pack down for the knock on. Well, New Zealand can afford to chance their arm now, no doubt. Leading by 20 points to 6. Great Britain dominating the scrums All of them have gone with the feed so far, and Gregory takes it away for Great Britain.
But it's Great Britain who have got to chance their arm. It's Great Britain who have got to put some pace together and move this ball about. Good tackling here from the Kiwis. Every forward moving in, cutting down the options.
Well, there's a good run by one of the replacements, Dixon. They need more from him.
That's good play by Freeman, coming in, spotting
Gary Schofield.
And aren't they looking after Gary Schofield? They know he's been the danger man. He opened them up very, very early on. And that should be another 6 tackles.
Yes, it's back to 6. 17 minutes gone. And New Zealand back to the full complement of 13 players on the field. Daryl Williams has returned after 10 minutes in the sin bin.
Great Britain plunging forward, one forward after the other, one forward after the other. Surely it's got to go through 3 or 4 pairs of hands. This is better rugby.
Sean Irwin. Penalty to Great Britain, yes. Silly play there from Morgan Edwards. He was well and truly held. Yes. Skipper Hume again shakes his head, and rightly so.
No need for that. Again, Mike Gregory shouting, urging, looking for a sense of urgency in this Great Britain side. They may have won the series, but still, World Cup points at stake here.
Keith England, 18 metres inside the Kiwi territory now. Paul Dixon. Now, Goulding has a line-up, the double round, the switch and play back inside to Dennis Betts. And Ray, I get the feeling that if New Zealand can score the next points, it might be all over. But it'll be interesting to see what happens if Great Britain can put points on the board.
Well, it would.
Now Gary Schofield throws a dummy and goes back inside to Darryl Powell. He links up with Roy Powell, and Roy Powell's going to score.
And that's exactly the sort of rugby that I've been urging Great Britain to play. They have the football, they have the skills, and in Gary Schofield they have the one man on this field to really turn this game round. 20 points to 10 and still everything to play for. Here it is, you see, Schofield breaking out wide again. Once again, Freeman can't get to him. Now this is well taken by Powell, by Roy Powell. There he is, the big forward striding out. Good pace there from Roy Powell. Good try. And that's what they can do.
Good tackle by Matthew Ridge there, but Powell was left untouched right between the posts. A good moment for Roy Powell from the Leeds club. It's his first test try. Doesn't really get a great deal of glory for his efforts on the rugby league field. But he's played in every game. He's made an appearance in every game except one on the tour of Papua New Guinea. And there's the extra 2 points by Jonathan Davis. So Powell played in every match on the tour of Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, except for the loss against Wellington. New Zealand 20, Great Britain 12, so the gap narrows. And now New Zealand certainly not home and hosed. They must come back and consolidate.
And New Zealand will certainly want to play this game now deep in this Great Britain half. But Great Britain, all they have to do is to keep the ball moving, use those ball skills, let Dermott, let Schofield open this ball out wide. They have the pace to trouble.
Goulding takes it well and gets it back to Sean Irwin. Straight across field, the replacement player. Irwin, 21 from the Castleford club, enjoying his stint in this match. Down the blind side, Dixon. Gary Schofield now busy as usual. Mike Gregory leading by example, allowed to stand in the tackle.
This is a vital stage here now for both sides. The next try really could determine this test match.
Full credit for Great Britain coming back. Gary Schofield, out it goes down to Paul Dixon. He's wrapped up there by Freeman and also Daryl Williams. 5th tackle. Lydon will kick. Matthew Ridge has to race away, but once again in a good position to get back and take the ball. And look at that chasing by Gary Schofield and Dennis Betts. The crowd roared for something in that tackle. Farnapper leaves it behind. It's still lying loose on the ground. And play on back to 1, says the referee. And Tony Ito has the right man, but he's put it down. And it's going to be Paul Dixon to come away with it.
And suddenly it looks as if the Kiwis are a little nervous now. The Kiwis have suddenly lost that momentum.
Roy Powell.
This is some
Drafting
test
up the
match.
middle. Good run by Powell to the quarter line. So Great Britain now, an air of confidence comes over them. Dennis Betts is going to take on the defence. Freeman has him, and McGann is there. But good field position now for this Great Britain side.
We're coming into the final quarter. The tourists have had 15 games now. Is that fitness going to tell?
Well, Hotto read that one pretty well and tackled Schofield. New Zealand leading 20 points to 12. Dermott out now to Keith England. Straight up the middle goes the prop. That's the 5th tackle.
I wouldn't be surprised, really. It'd be a good advantage to try one old-fashioned up and under here. A real tester.
Well, here's Martin O'Fire on the burst. And that's red out of room, and that's the handover, so a waste of time there.
It was a waste of time. I would have tried an old-fashioned up and under on the ridge here. Really put some pressure on him.
Dwayne Mann. Almost to the quarter line. New Zealand must get the ball down into Great Britain territory. Tawera Nikau running onto it well. He's enjoying his test match today. One of the Kiwi try scorers in the first half. Peter Brown down the blind.
Good sensible play there by Freeman and Mann, taking 3 passes down the blind side, taking it away from the post, opening out the movement there.
Malcolm really still a chance for his side in this team. But tension written all over his face again.
Time ticking away, time obviously in favour of the Kiwis.
Gary Freeman's not going to find touch with that grubber kick. Joe Lydon puts one over the top to Martin O'Fire. He's got some open spaces now, the speedster, but McGann is there to wrap him up. Schofield, no, they missed him out and they brought Darryl Powell into it. Good, strong running centre, Darryl Powell.
Not had many chances, this lad from Sheffield.
Schofield throws the dummy. And what's going to happen here? The referee is calling something, calling someone out for an incident here. A Great Britain player is on the ground.
Well, certainly Mr. Harrigan has spotted something, and Mike Gregory there shaking his head. We see Schofield, he holds the ball, he's looking for that dummy again, or the short pass, and he doesn't. He spots it. We've got Dwayne Mann coming in there. Definitely a tackle off the ball by Hugh McGann. No doubt about that. And Gary Schofield stops and says, Mr. Harrigan, what are you going to do about it?
So Harrigan, the referee today, and I think he's had a pretty good match. Awards a penalty to Great Britain, so this gives the Lions another chance to get down inside New Zealand territory.
And I think Mike Gregory's asking, well, just what do you have to do to get into the sin bin?
Jonathan Davis retrieves the ball. The penalty's going New Zealand's way by 5-4. As we see Paul Dixon charging up. 2 footballs on the field at the moment. Now they play on with New Zealand holding on to a 20 points to 12 lead at the moment. Gary Schofield allowed to stand in the tackle and get it back to Bobby Goulding. There's always something on when Schofield has the ball in hand.
And the Kiwis certainly know that. They're coming in very, very quickly to close him down.
Well, here's a chance for the Kiwis to retrieve the ball. It's a forward pass. Yes, Bobby Goulding was definitely offside there. The ball went forward. Again, Mike Gregory is arguing, get out of it, lad. That was definitely forward. And now Bobby Goulding throws the ball at Gary Freeman. What's he on about? He's already had 10 minutes in the sin bin.
That's very silly, very silly. The penalty has already been given. I think referee Harrigan saying, look, you know, he's only a young lad. For goodness sake, contain yourself. And I think Mike Gregory knows that.
Well, Bobby Goulding pretty lucky to get away with out another period in the sin bin here. Nothing malicious in that, but he might be a young lad.
Certainly
he's still a test footballer, and that sort of rubbish is no good.
Well, really, you've got to get on with playing the rugby. These 2 scrum halves are like 2 little turkey cocks fighting away at each other.
15 minutes to go. Can New Zealand hold on, or can this courageous Great Britain Lions team charge back and make a whitewash of the series? Vital World Cup points up for grabs here. Hope you're enjoying the telecast live on One World of Sport.
Whichever side keeps calm, whichever side keeps cool will win this test match.
Dean Lonergan. That was a good duck under a high one there. Kept down the blind side, but he's on his own out there.
Good tackle there by Darryl Powell. the Kiwis' turn again now, once again, to put the pressure on.
Here's Peter Brown, he's got support inside. Back it goes to Tony Kemp. Can he get in for his second try? No, he's lost it.
It was good play by that man, Peter Brown, again. I've seen him do that many, many times at Salford when he was in the English League. But poor Tony Kemp couldn't get that ball over the line. The try was there for the begging. Just look at this. Again, it's that power, that strength, that size close to the line, and the ball goes. But just look at the man who did the tackle. Dare I mention his name again? Gary Schofield.
So a relief there, a little relief for Great Britain. That surely would have been the match, but now New Zealand still have to defend grimly. Here's Mike Gregory charging up to the halfway line. A penalty to Great Britain now, so New Zealand must consolidate. Bob Bailey, yes, he didn't enjoy that one at all. He looks across at the time to go.
I should think Bob Bailey will be aging during this next 13 or 14 minutes. Great Britain coming back here. They've got to use this ball, got to run off these forwards, get these half-backs going.
And a good run by Dixon with 12 minutes to go.
8 points difference.
And this is Bobby Goulding getting dangerously close to that New Zealand line. A try here by Great Britain will certainly open it up, and this time it's a penalty again to Great Britain. The New Zealanders not allowing Goulding to play the ball. Schofield, here's a chance for Martin O'Fire, storming through, he throws it back to nobody.
Well, that was stupid of Martin O'Fire, that was silly.
But Great Britain still have it, they got away with it. Now it's Schofield out to Mike Gregory, can he get the ball clear? No, a good ball and all tackle by Darryl Williams there.
And you know, Greg, it's all action at the moment, but I honestly would have gone for goal there for Great Britain. We've still got 12 minutes to go. It would have pulled it back to 6 points.
Well, Bobby Goulding will play it. They're still on the attack, still in with the big chances, lying loose in the ground. O'Fire has left it behind, it's been picked up over there by New Zealand, so they come away with it. They can breathe easy for another 6 tackles. That New Zealander, Tony Illo.
New Zealand can breathe easily, but certainly I think there was a rush of blood to the head there. I think Jonathan Davies should have been called up to take that goal. It was a simple goal, it was another 2 points, and it would have made just 6 points the difference.
Let's go to the sideline, Howie Tamati.
Bad error there by Great Britain. I agree they should have taken the 2 points. They would have brought them back in touch. Now they've got it all to do in front of them. A real turning point in the game here, I thought.
Yes, indeed. And down the blind side, Dean Lonergan bumps off one. Won't get away from Dixon and Betts, however, but a good strong run. New Zealand need more of that up the middle. Tawera Nikau. Good run by Nikau. He's got players all around him. Gets it back to Mark Hotto. Back it goes to Morvan Edwards. Over the top to Nikau. Backing up and out to Sammy Palapa. Up over the corner line goes the winger. Back to Nikau. That's the 4th time, I think it is, in that movement that sensational second rower has held on to it or touched the ball. He plays it. Now, they're up pretty wide, up out wide very quickly, the Great Britain defence, so Rich has to turn it down the blind again. Mark Hotto.
And that, I think, is the 6th tackle.
He's left it behind, and it's over the touchline. Forwards anyway, so the knock-on.
Well, that was the 6th tackle, so on the knock-on, the ball handed over to Great Britain. But what a fine run there from Tawera Nikau. And significantly, not just the run, but the way he passes the ball out of the tackle.
Roy Powell has the job now to try and lead this Great Britain side out of their own quarter. New Zealand leading by 20 points to 12, under 10 minutes to go in this World Cup qualifying match. Schofield looking for the runners, back to Schofield. Maybe this Great Britain side is expecting too much of the vice-captain and standoff. He needs support.
There's no one really making any play in midfield, but just look at those tackle counts there. Huey McGann 32 and Hotto 25. This pressure, England, Powell, it's been a very, very hard game for the forwards.
Schofield will kick. Matthew Ridge has to scramble across and try and pick it up. Back inside his own quarter now. And Matthew Ridge will take the tackle. Ridge has kicked 6 conversions here today, 6 from 6, or 6 goals anyway. And if he can land one more goal, his sensational rugby league career will even go on for bigger honours, because he will equal the record for a New Zealander for points against Great Britain. Lonergan put it down, and look at the tackling there from the New Zealand backs, Kemp in particular and Freeman. Gibson, who's off the field now, but still the leading tackle performer for Great Britain.
And that just shows how open this game's been. Great Britain now desperate to string 2 or 3 passes together. They've got to score them very, very quickly.
Here's Keith England. He'll run all day. He's a real grafter, isn't he? Loves taking the ball up. Loves taking on this Kiwi defence. Gregory shows the ball, but the New Zealanders read that one pretty well. They look determined not to let this one slip away, like they let the first two slip away. This is Mike Gregory slipping away over there. Now Lydon, the midfield bomb. Oh, I'll tell you what, it nearly picked up a bit of snow up there, and Matthew Ridge beautifully taken. The crowd loved that one.
Superbly taken by Ridge. I think that's a throwback to his old rugby days. Excellent.
Panapa allowed to get up and run. Sammy Panapa
Had a good test series, this lad Sam Panapa. I understand that he could be going over to Sheffield Eagles this winter. They've certainly got a bargain buy.
Horrow, he had to be assisted from the field at half-time with the bruised knee, but he's managed to hold on, and there's the English bench and a sombre-looking crowd there at the moment. Now the New Zealand players are begging for the touch judge to come in and report something that went on in the tackle there. And yes, he's going to report something to Bill Harrigan now.
Well, I think the touch judge was called on by Gary Freeman there. Hugh McGann trying to quiet everybody down. We're getting in the final stages of this third test.
Harrigan, and there's the penalty count going Great Britain's way by 7-6. And a penalty to Great Britain. I think what happened there was he's actually penalised Peter Brown for abusing the touch judge.
He's penalised Peter Brown or Gary Freeman for abusing the touch judge. Hugh McGann is wondering, well, why wasn't the initial penalty given, perhaps for a punch thrown? But once again, it comes down to discipline.
New Zealand leading by 20 points to 12. 6 minutes to go. Yes, we're inside the last 10. Can this Kiwi defence hold on? Great Britain throwing everything at them, and this is Roy Powell. Got out of a couple, Roy Powell.
He's run well this afternoon, Roy Powell. He's really brought the tackle 2 or 3 times, but more should have come off him.
Now they stride down the blind side. Joe Lydon gets it out to Sean Irwin. Davis was unmarked, but he ran out of room over on the far side. Back to Keith England. That's good backing up by the big prop.
And that's good defence by New Zealand. They're on the rack here now. Great Britain giving them the best.
Sean Irwin showed the ball as if he was going to kick, but the New Zealand defence didn't fall for it. For Great Britain, 10 metres out, 20 points to 12. The Kiwis leading. Here's Schofield. What's on here? Oh, he throws it to nobody. And Hugh McGann will pick it up with the knock-on to be played. Just as the New Zealanders raced away. Unlucky there for New Zealand.
Well, very unlucky for New Zealand. There was obviously a set move on by Great Britain that went wrong, but I don't think Darryl Williams will mind too much the knock-on. It stops the play, the seconds tick away.
Great Britain leading in the scrums by 5-2, all of them with the feed, and this will be a Great Britain feed after New Zealand knocked it on there. And down the blind side they go. Mike Gregory throwing dummies all over the place. He's got a fire out wide. Martin O'Farrill. He's in. Yes, it's a try to Great Britain. Oh, he has electrifying speed, Martin O'Farrill, and this has really made a test match of this one. 20 points to 16 now, New Zealand leading, but the pressure well and truly on.
Tremendous pace and a beautiful pass out there. But just look at O'Farrill. He's faced with 1, 2 men. He's round Iro, he's round Ridge, and that's real pace. He's just like a bullet from a gun. Good pass here from Gregory. Gets it out of the tackle. Now just watch Iro here. 1, he's round Iro. 2, Ridge isn't there, and it's down. Well, he certainly put the ball down this time, didn't he? He's just like an electric hair. You can't give this man an inch. Fastest rugby league player in the world, Martin O'Farrill.
So, an important kick this one for Jonathan Davis. 2 from 3 today. Plenty of concentration, and this has really set the scene for an exciting finish to this test match. It's been non-stop really all the way from the initial kick-off. And it's straight between the uprights. it's a sensational conversion by Jonathan Davis, so just 2 points the difference now. Martin O'Fire, the try scorer. You can talk all day about Martin O'Fire's feats in rugby league. Entertainer of the year in British rugby league in 88 and 89. Fastest ever to 100 tries after only 17 and a half months after making his rugby league debut. Broke the Widnes Club record with 42 tries in his first season in 87-88. So I tell you, he's done it all, and he's certainly made the most of this Test match today.
And Greg, what was I saying and what was Howard Tamati saying about that goal kick that Great Britain should have gone for about 6 or 7 minutes to go? That kick could actually be the difference between winning or losing this test. But just over 4 minutes to go, 2 points difference, everything to play for. A 3-0 whitewash or the Kiwis 2 World Cup points.
There's England straight up the middle again.
And both sides now eager to keep possession, eager to use possession. One mistake could win or lose this match.
There's Gary Schofield, one over the top for Martin O'Fire following through. No doubt Gregory got there first, but it was Freeman with the ball in hand. He's going to take plenty of time to tackle, to make the play the ball. Back now to Tony Uro. Just taking it up the middle, settling it down a little bit, time ticking away.
This is all that the Kiwis have got to do. They've got to keep it to one man. Sam Panapa coming in there very sensibly, giving the forwards a rest. He's a big man, he can take the tackle.
3 minutes to go. 20 points to 18.
Good tackle by Betts there.
The New Zealanders just have to take their time with this set of 6. There's Dean Lonigan. Now that's the 5th tackle. Down the blind side, Gary Freeman. There's a little grubber kick through. He's going for the touchline. He's going to find it too. Only about a half a metre from the corner flag.
Certainly playing percentage football there. Gary Freeman, I think he's overestimated the time a little bit. We make it just around about that 3-minute mark to go.
Well, it's a win to Great Britain.
And I think Great Britain will really want to be winging this ball out to Martin O'Fire. He's the one man that can go the full length of this field. This is what's going to try to be happening.
Well, Dennis Bench now wrapped up. 1 point the difference in the first test, and a mistake by Great Britain. A knock on there. This should be a Kiwi feed, but 1 point the difference in the first test. Only 2 points in the second test, and 2 points separating the teams here in the third test. This has been one heck of a rugby league series, and I hope you enjoyed it on One World of Sport.
And that drop ball by Dennis Betts could prove costly.
Now, Gary Freeman getting close to the line, but he ran out of space.
That was a crunching tackle there from Paul Dixon, and I think he's gone over on his ankle there, Freeman.
Morgan Edwards from dummy half, the Wellington skipper. Surely if New Zealand can hold it for the 6 tackles, it'll be all over. That's 2
seconds ticking away.
He holds on to it.
It's worth a drop goal from the Kiwis. Surely they'll be setting up somebody like Freeman or Matthew Ridge.
Well, they're going to spin it wide out to Dean Lonigan, taking on the defence. He's held up only about 5 metres out.
Good defence here from Great Britain. They've got to tackle for their lives.
There's the drop goal attempt from Hume again. It's straight between the uprights. Surely that is the ball game. I don't think there'll be enough time now for Great Britain. The crowd running onto the field. 21 points to 18. New Zealand leading Great Britain. The crowd running on. And yes, the siren sounds just in time. It's all over at QE2 Park. There's the replay. Hume again, taking the Kiwis out to a 3-point victory. Sensational game of rugby league. To think that the Kiwis looked so dominant in the first half, taking a 12-point lead into the break, and then we saw 2 tries, 2 conversions by Great Britain in the second half, just a penalty and a drop goal to the Kiwis in the second half. So you've got to give credit to the Lions. They didn't give up. There's Gary Schofield there. He's had a great series, certainly my man of the series, but full honour really to this New Zealand side. Matthew Ridge, 6 from 6. He didn't equal the New Zealand record for points in a test against Great Britain, but who cares today? 6 from 6, 100% there.
That was a tremendous match, there's no doubt about it. The rugby was good.
Tawa and Ingo, is it? No, we can't just pick that player up, but there's Jonathan Davis.
The end of a long,
they tried.
end of a long, hard tour for these Great Britain lads. 15 matches, 10 weeks on tour from Papua New Guinea and New Zealand. I don't think they'll be happy at the defeat, but certainly they'll be happy to come to the end of a long road. I think the Kiwis have come to the end of a road too. They've battled and struggled in those first 2 tests, but all credit to them there. Some superb football, good running, good rugby.
New Zealand have won the 3rd test, 21 points to 18. We'll take a short break and then we'll be back at QE2 Park in Christchurch.